Hey guys, it's Drew here with Cyclone Gunworks. This video here is going to be a real quick video today. I just want to do some quick tips on how to actually get a high quality and uniform result when you're stippling. Because if you accomplish that, it's going to look good. It doesn't matter what pattern you do, however you choose to do so. If your goal is for it to be high quality and uniform, it's going to look good. Okay, so there are 4 major keys. Now I want you beginners to listen up here. If you're afraid to do this on your own, it's okay. It doesn't matter what pattern you're going for. It doesn't matter what tip you're using. Okay, the most important step to use is your distribution consistency. When I say that, I mean, again, doesn't matter what tip I'm using, doesn't matter what pattern I'm going for. If I am using a square tip pattern, okay, here we'll use this on a larger scale. So we'll imagine this is a hot square, rectangular, or flathead stipple type. If I come in here like this, okay, and my goal is to be doing, say, a sunburst pattern, well, I want to come at it like this, parallel. Each line is parallel. Well, guess what? I have now chosen my application pattern, my distribution pattern. What's the key? Consistency. So you want to plan your make your plan of attack ahead of time. Okay, have a method behind your madness. Don't just go poking at your gun, stippling. Think what tip you're going to use. Practice on other plastics to see what's going to happen when you actually touch the plastic. So right now you might be asking yourself, if you've never done this before, this is your first time. Again, you can always use practice plastic like I'm about to show you right now, but you might be asking yourself, how are you going to distribute consistently and apply so consistently if you've never done this? Well, it's a basic method with just being savvy with tools, or perhaps a little artistic. Okay, so there's 3 things to get that number 1 key: distribution, consistency, and consistent application. There are 3 keys to that. Again, like I just showed you with your distribution choice, if you have a flat tip and you choose to do parallel lines, you have just now, you got to realize that you just created a ladder pattern, essentially a step pattern. You have to do the entire gun like that now. Okay, if you're doing, say, a sprinkle, what I like to do is start by doing behind here the outer edge of the star with a V. Well, I'll close that triangle here, and then I'll go around triangle, triangle, and then you'll have here coming off triangles. Now again, whatever you're trying to accomplish, it matters how consistent it is. So you notice what I'm speaking here. My main point is you need to be consistent. Things that are going to help you be consistent. There are 3 things. 1, you can plan to do everything I'm saying, but without these 3 keys, you will not achieve this. Okay? So the first major key of the 3 is your angle. When you apply your pattern, notice I'm coming here perpendicular to my surface area that I'm hitting. My tool's perpendicular. If I had an alligator print with a circular, a different angled circular, and I'm hitting this, I need to now hit every single dot at that 30-degree angle or that 45-degree angle. If I'm at a curve, I need to compromise that curve and contact at a 45-degree or 30-degree angle, whatever, you get the point. For instance, when I start this random big dot pattern I'm going to do with these 3 tips, I am going to be making contact with the plastic body completely perpendicular. Essentially, I want to hit this at a 90-degree angle everywhere I hit. If I'm hitting a odd angle, I want to be just squared up with it everywhere I go. Just perfectly squared up with it, okay? So your angle is your first key to get even distribution and application for that nice finish. The second key is your duration of contact. So again, these are all things you're going to have to think about as you're doing this. So if I'm doing that, for ease of example, a ladder pattern, okay, 3, 4, depending on my heat, depending on how the polymer reacts, you might want to test on an area like, say, maybe here real light, okay, where is unseen. You're going to wrap around. You definitely don't want to start on areas like here first, where you're going to have your main focal points. Maybe start in the wrap around on the inner palm areas, where I like to kind of test my spot and test my polymer. Back to my point though, the duration of contact is key. If I'm doing a ladder pattern and I'm focused on step 1, I got my perfect angle. But if I focus too long and I let my tool sit for 2 seconds, guess what? You just deform that top layer of plastic differently, okay? So your first line, your second line is going to look uniform, but that third line, that instead of sitting for just a half a second, your hands were sweaty, or you were, you got to be proactive and be ready for the angle, okay? If you have to work a weird angle, get there, make that 1 second. So, first one, angle, consistent. Duration time of contact must be consistent, okay? And then the last thing, which is a pretty obvious thing, is the pressure must be consistent, okay? So I'm going to go over just a little bit of practice here on this old stock I have, old MP5 stock. Who doesn't want a adjustable stock on an MP5? But anyhow, so we're gonna fake like this is a line perhaps on my gun that I'm gonna go, for better, let's say that that's a carved line, like on this gun. Okay, so as I'm approaching that carved line, what I want to do is on the next video, when I do finally do the complete stippling of this Glock 19X that I've been working on, I'm going to show in great detail again how to achieve all this real time on a real firearm. So for random big dot, what I'm going to do is, you don't want to get too close to the lines, because there's a tip in my stippling video that I will be showing you to get your lines nice and tight. If you watch one of my last videos, I did touch base on that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get somewhat close, not uncomfortably close. I'll get close enough to the border as I want, probably about 1 millimeter away with this mid-sized dot, okay? So, step 1. I have planned for my distribution and application to be consistent. What are the 3 keys? My angle, my duration of contact, and my pressure being equal every time. So, plan ahead, okay? My pattern I have in my mind, which I'll show you in a second. Number 1, angle. I'm going to have to be perpendicular with my service at all times, okay? Perpendicular to achieve this pattern. Duration, you need to, again, practice, okay? Practice to know your duration and your pressure. My angle, okay? Perpendicular, a 90-degree angle from the plastic. So here's my border. What I'm going to do is get somewhat close, Okay. Okay. Now I don't need to get any closer than that. You see now, with the random big dot, it's not perfect, but the texture doesn't have to be perfect. Your distribution being about where I'm at here, 95%, when I wrap up this job and it's complete, it's going to look darn good. What will be perfect are my outer lines, which you will see how I achieve that, and I did touch that on my last video. So the point of using this medium size tip is to just clear my border. I'm going to start all my borders on the gun with this. Nice and just random big dot is the name of it, okay? Now I'm going to show you, for video purposes, what happens if my angle is off, okay? What happens if my angle's off? Well, look at that. I have dots that are not looking right, okay? And when you have a map of dots, those are going to stick out. Might not be the end of the world for some people, but again, I'm just trying to help you all get a professional, consistent, good quality, uniform result when you're done trying this on your own, okay? So you see the difference between the wrong angle, okay, or dragging, or my duration is too quick, or my duration is too long. See, the metal will start to fold over like a volcano, okay? So all these things are things you got to consider. And even if you do your pressure the same, but your duration's different, you're going to get two different things, okay? So angle, duration, pressure, you all want these to be even, okay? And the way I'm going to actually do the 19X in my next video is I'm not going to go and do a full flow of the medium dot. Like I said, I am going to do the border like that and come back with a smaller dot to get even closer, and then show you my hidden technique that will allow you to have the best stipple job, okay, in my opinion. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my border lines like that. I will not do that second line on my borders. I'll do the first line on my borders, and then I'm going to simply use up a little bit of space, maybe offset, okay? I'm going to offset them like this. I'm going to cover a lot of space with this pattern. That's why I'm pretty excited about doing this one. But you see, my key here is my angle, my pressure, my duration of contact, okay? The differentials that are so slight that you see are due to me not being perfect with those three keys: my angle, my duration of contact, and my pressure. So again, in my next video, you'll see how I come back with a much bigger dot, and I'm going to be filling in these areas. It's going to leave a nice random big dot, nice little pattern that seems to be a really good grip and also quite good looking, if I might say myself, okay? Again, this is Drew at Cyclone Gunworks. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you guys have any requests or questions or things you want me to get into more detail. I'll see you guys in my next video when I am going to be stippling the beautiful Glock 19X. Yes, it is a 19X. That is custom work on the mag weld that I chopped. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Be safe.